Terry, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Kim Childs.
And I'm Terry Schneider. And this is our Busy Burnett Real Estate and Lifestyle Podcast.
We love what we do, and we hope you enjoy our podcast. Hey, Terry.
Hey, Kim, how are you?
I'm so good. I'm so great. Hey, thinking about different topics that we could use, in today's topic that we came up with is pricing strategies for today's market. And is there a little bit of buyer fatigue?
What a great subject. Yes, I think we should talk about that.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to diving in. We started seeing such low inventory and lots of multiple offer situations starting in the fall of 2020, and especially starting in November.
Yeah, we did.
And we heard all homes are getting multiple offers, like tons of them.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, just even thinking about it, how it was then.
Yeah, so. I know. Yeah. I know you've been working with a lot of buyers.
I have been. And, we saw a lot of that with multiple offers. I mean, I had to educate my buyers, just to get them to understand the situation that we were in when it came to writing an offer, because you just can't go out and write an offer for full price and expect to get it. And you were also competing against a lot of other buyers.
And some buyers that were desperate to get a home.
Very desperate, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they wanted to take advantage of the market the way it was, and I don't blame them, so.
Yeah. Well, just kind of curious, what is fueling these multiple offers?
Well, some of it is the low inventory that we have right now. Lately, since November, it's been about 0.7 to 1 month of inventory of houses.
Wow.
That is historically low for the RMLS that we're in. We've not ever seen that before.
That is crazy. I remember, I think it was July of 2005, the lowest it was before this period was 1.5 months.
Wow.
And then we had, the recession and a whole bunch of other things happen in between. And now we're down as low as 0.7 months.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
When I started 10 years ago, it was, 3 months.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
very, very different.
Yeah.
So we have low inventory, but it's what is causing low inventory? Why do we have low inventory?
Well, I think we have a couple of different things. We have millennials coming into the market right now.
They've been coming in like crazy.
Well, I think we had talked about this earlier, that a lot of my buyers are millennials.
Right.
So they're coming into the market. The other thing that's happening is the low interest rates. I mean, it's down in the 3s, and that's fueling them, I think, to want to go out and buy a house, because why not?
So even though prices are the highest they've been forever, right? They're wanting to still buy because it still makes sense. I think I've helped a few millennials myself this year, and when you compare the tax benefit they get from buying and look at that payment adjusted for the tax benefit and compare it to renting, it still makes sense to buy.
Yeah. Well, and with the low interest rates, they're getting more of a house because of it.
Right. So that's really nice for them too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I kind of have noticed is that new construction, it never recovered from the downturn, from the recession.
No. Well, and even with, going through COVID, the construction has been down because people weren't working.
Right.
They weren't building. Lumber prices were going up. And so things just kind of came to a halt.
Have you been doing anything with helping buyers buy new construction?
Yeah, and it's very different than what it was just a year ago. You don't really have model homes now.
Okay.
You have to make an appointment. You get to go in and possibly see a house that's being built. Maybe there's a model home. You're making appointments.
Right.
I have a buyer right now that we put money down on a lot, and it's been 3 months, and it still hasn't been permitted.
Wow.
And it's, and the prices keep going up, because until it's permitted, we don't get to have that price of our base. Oh, and mind you, there's no model home, so we really don't know what the house looks like that they're building. It's all online.
It's crazy. I just met with a would-be seller yesterday, and they want to actually move to Las Vegas, and they were looking at new construction over there. When they first started looking, it was going to be about $450. Then it went up to the high 4s, and he just got an email from the agent that he's working with over there that now the base price is $520.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. But because the supply is so low and the demand is there, it's just pulling prices up. Yeah. And also lumber prices and that are not helping either.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's kind of crazy. You know, the thing that I found that's really interesting is that as sellers have heard that their neighbor was getting multiple offers, it actually became the expectation for sellers. So there's actually 3 different pricing strategies in any market.
Yeah.
And so what are they, Terry?
So one of the pricing strategies is to price it above market value.
Oh, price the home above market value?
Yeah. So you're pricing it, it's a little bit high, but you know the house is going to sell high anyway because you're going to get those multiple offers. But if price it high, I think what you're going to do is that there's a lot of people that aren't going to be able to afford your house because you're higher than you should be. And so you may not get all those people coming into your house that you should. You're just getting fewer.
Okay. All right. So that's one strategy.
Yeah. Another one is to price it at current market value, which I think is the best way of doing it because you're competing against all the other houses in the neighborhood. You don't want to be that house in the neighborhood that's the high house because no one's going to come see you, right? So you want to be competitive, and you might get multiple offers because of that, right? Another option is to price it below the market value, and you probably will get multiple offers. You're going to get a lot of people coming through your house. It's not my favorite way of doing it either. I like to price it right at the time that we list it so I know what my competition is.
Okay. And that makes a lot of sense to me. The other thing that I've seen, and I know you have too, is it's interesting. I think sometimes sellers were pricing below market, but they didn't realize kind of at the beginning of this November timeframe where inventory got so low. And that was because basically agents were looking 1 to 6 months back at what things had actually sold for and comparing. And the market had changed so much by using a price that sold 6 months ago and not making enough of an adjustment for the low inventory. They were basically guaranteeing that they were going to get this huge influx of buyers. And often too, I thought it was interesting, like this listing agents were so surprised, right? But, you know, half those buyers were never going to get that house.
No, they weren't. Well, and that whole strategy right there is different for us because we've always gone 1 to 6 months, 3 to 6 months. We've always looked back just to see our 1 to 3 months to see what houses in the neighborhood have sold. And a lot of times it was just in that neighborhood or that school district, but sometimes you had to go even further out.
Right.
Now you have to go a little bit further out, it seems like.
Just to try and find.
And go back 1 month. I mean.
Oh, so 1 month.
So now that's what I'm doing is going back only 1 month.
1 month. Okay.
To see what has sold and sometimes it hasn't. It's already pending.
That's crazy. You know, I mean, I sell a lot of listings, and it's interesting. I've had several agents just call me last week asking me, how's it going? What's the deal? Just trying to get the most current information because they have homes that they're trying to price and get on the market.
Yeah.
And they really want to have the most current, up-to-date information. And when you look, 3 months back, you just aren't using that.
Right, exactly. Well, I just listed the house that I just sold, got offers on this weekend. I didn't have any solds. I had to go off the fact that there was 3 pendings in the neighborhood, and the agents had put in the comments multiple offers, and they had sold within 3 or 4 days.
And so you kind of use that as a guide.
That as my guide, yeah.
So how did it go? You got it under contract. What was your experience with that?
Well, I mean, it was good. I had a lot of showings this weekend. I had people at my open house, and we had 4 offers, and my sellers chose an offer that they liked, and it was over asking.
But, that's interesting because what was the price point on that, Terry?
$490.
Okay. Because that is a price point that, we often, at least like 2-3 months ago, we're seeing more than 4 offers.
Right, exactly. So it has slowed down a little bit.
Okay.
It's softened just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit, yeah. And, I kind of am seeing that as well. And I have a listing right now that's well over $1 million in Lake Oswego. And what I'm attributing that to, and I'm just hearing it and seeing a lot of agents are asking, are you seeing a little softening? Are you, there's a little bit of buyer's fatigue out there, I think.
I think so. I think they're just really tired of going out and competing for houses. I mean, I wrote an offer this summer, and we were one of 33.
Whoa.
I've never had that ever before. I mean, so it's crazy to even, I couldn't even imagine being the listing agent. I mean, how do you start going through that with your sellers saying, okay, here's 33 offers. Which one do you want?
Right.
I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. What's weird though, too, I noticed, I sold a home, in Oregon City for $485, and that's right around, the median market value for sales there. And we had, I think it was 13 offers. But what was interesting? Many of them were right around the asking price, right? And that's where people kind of settled in. But seems like you almost always have one person, one buyer that really decides, I am buying this home. And they I mean, so I told all the agents that asked me, we were really looking for some type of an appraisal gap coverage. And I asked for some rent back because my buyers had nowhere to go and they were looking to buy a home and a couple other things. And several of them said, oh, we can't do that. Oh, we're not going to do that. And I'm like, okay, that's okay, right? But I had one buyer who came in, offered the highest price by far, an appraisal gap, which thank heavens we had it because there was only $1,000 room in there, right? But that appraisal gap covered it and also gave them free 2-month rent back. So one of the things you're going to find, I mean, a lot of them are just going to come in right out, whatever the terms are, thinking that, and they're not going to get the house.
Right. Well, the 4 offers that I got, 2 came right above the list price. 2 were over, but only one that was over gave us an appraisal gap.
Ah.
And they gave us rent back that we needed.
Just as an aside, I think it's so interesting. I think that I just helped my daughter buy a home, right?
Yeah.
And there were multiple offers, and we did go over, and then another offer came in, and I said, I think we're going to have to go a little higher. We did. But what ultimately got it for her, because we weren't, I don't think, the highest price, but she offered 59 days of free rent back. And the sellers were thrilled with that because they had nowhere to move to, and they used almost all of it before they moved out. But this I find very interesting. She was talking to a friend of hers who has a sister that lives in Rhode Island, and they were trying to buy a home. And Caitlin told this friend, hey, my mom took out of her bag of tricks this rent back, and it got the home for me. And so this friend suggested it to his sister, and they did it back there, and she got the home
And she got her
because
home.
of the rent back.
Yeah. Well, that was huge for us. We needed that rent back, too, because our house is being built for my sellers.
Oh, my gosh.
And with construction not going as fast as it should, our fear is that it's not going to be done next month when they say it's going to be. So we got 60 days rent back for free.
Wonderful.
But we did have some buyers come in and charge us their PITI.
Right.
And I thought, well, I would love to do it, but no.
Yeah.
Not when we got it for free.
No, I know. That's the thing. It can really make the difference. Another thing, I had been some training here, I want to say it's 3 or 4 years ago, and they were talking about which one of these principals in a transaction or person who's involved really understands the shift in the market first. So is it the listing agent, the buyer agent, the seller, or the buyer? Who understands when they see a shift first?
So my first instinct would to say the listing agent, but it's not. It's got to be the buyer.
And it is the buyer. It is the buyer. Especially in today's world, all that information is available to them. Easily accessible.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of people who are very comfortable with technology.
Yeah.
And they're up on what's going on.
Yeah. And when I show them houses, they'll tell me what's happening in the neighborhood.
Wow.
They've already done their research. So they're very savvy.
That's really fun. The other thing I've seen just recently, Terry, and tell me if you're seeing this too, is that because of the expectation of multiple offers that sellers have and that they expect it to go over and, multiple offers, they aren't wanting to really prepare their home sometimes in the same way that we might have wanted them to in this market and any market.
Right. Well, I had that question posed to me from my seller that I just sold their house.
Okay.
And he's like, well, why do we need to? Because if you want top dollar, you need to. You need to make it look cute. You need to clean it up. You need to fix it so that when a buyer comes in and they see a price, they're going to want to offer on it. So yeah, it's a must that to get top dollar for your listings, you have to do some work.
I so agree. In any market, you're going to get, as long as it's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it's going to really make a difference. Well, just to summarize, in today's market, we still have very low inventory.
Yes.
Demand is high. Interest rates are still historically low. But sellers are being reined in just a little bit because of buyer fatigue.
Yeah. And I think that's good because one of the things I explained to my seller, with repairs and stuff, because of all the buyer fatigue and stuff, buyers want some stuff done to the house with repairs too.
That's starting to come into the picture a little more.
It is, yeah. Where people they weren't doing any repairs, I didn't have to. I could just, put it back on the market. I got other offers I can pick from.
Yeah.
And they're paying a high price for these houses. They should have some of these repairs done.
Oh, I understand.
So, but yeah.
I just sold a home that had been a rental for my sellers. And they had put in the offer, the buyers, that they wouldn't ask for any repairs less than $1,500. And of course, in the inspection, they saw some water in the crawl space, and they called out Ability Plus to come and take a look at the drainage. That's exactly who I would call.
Yeah.
I love them. They're reasonable. They're great. And they took a look and said, oh, yeah, these things. And interestingly enough, when I talked to my sellers said, yes, we will give them a credit for that because it can't be done for 2 months. But they're going to credit them at closing towards, getting that done. And they said, we should take responsibility for that. That crawl space is a mess. We had no idea. And I just thought that was great. I mean, at least they were just being reasonable.
Yeah. Well, my sellers just gave a $4,500 credit for carpet because we didn't know that we were going to put their house on the market so soon. We thought we had till
Some time.
Yeah, till November. So yeah, it is nice when they think about that kind of stuff.
It is. One other little thing that kind of comes to mind for me too is, typically right around the May timeframe, the end of May or whatever, that is the height of the market. That's where you have the most activity. It starts slowing down a little bit as we get into the summer. And I think part of it is schools, part of it's vacations. There's a lot of reasons why that is.
Yeah.
A lot of sellers want to go on during that time because their home shows the best, right, in the spring. But that also could be contributing a little bit to the reining in that we're seeing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, and I know here in Oregon, COVID has been lifted.
Okay.
The mask mandate, and I think people were just getting out too, which is nice.
Getting ready to enjoy life again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're traveling. They're doing stuff now that school is out. But yeah.
Well, speaking of that, Terry, I know you had some fun this weekend.
I did. It was the 4th of July this weekend, and my neighbors, our neighborhood, had a parade and picnic in the park across the street from my house.
I love that.
Yeah, it was very cute. Took pictures of the little kids decorating their bikes and then hung out with my neighbors. So it was really nice. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love it. As things kind of open up, it starts feeling pretty normal.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Well, you also had some fun things this weekend.
Well, the one thing that we did that was honestly really fun is, my husband and I, my oldest son, and my brother went up to see the Mariners.
Fun.
And what was fun is they won. Yay! And it was so interesting because we had a couple home runs. One was a 3-run shot, which was very exciting. And we had gone up about a month and a half ago and watched them play Baltimore. And we got no-hitted by Baltimore. And we only had one base runner in the 3rd inning, and it was a pass ball. So it was a little bit of a snoozer.
Okay, time to go home.
It was. So to come back and have just a really fun day, and it was a beautiful day besides, right?
Yeah, it was very beautiful.
Nice drive up, nice drive back.
Okay, so you drove, you didn't take the
did.
train. Okay.
No, we thought about it, but it's just nice to have the car, and it was just an easy little drive, and it wasn't very busy either because we've been there on 4th of July before.
Okay.
But I think just with COVID opening up, a lot of people were doing family activities, that
Nice.
kind of thing. But anyway, it was a lovely day, and
Okay.
actually had a lovely 3-day weekend.
Well, good.
Good. Thank you, Terry, so much for sharing.
It's always fun to share.
Yeah, thank you.
The Kim and Terry team is made up of Kim, Terry, Darcy, and Beth. Together, they have over 35 years of collective experience in residential real estate. Between them, they've had previous careers in accounting and finance, customer service, sales, and interior design. And some of them did this while being moms. They share a broad background and perspective on real estate, business, and life. They love what they do for a living and the people they get to do it with. If you would like to contact them, they can be reached at busyburnett.com. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.